Welcome into the Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. Those guys are... Yeah, there we go. There we
that's
go.
The way
Those
to do
guys.
It.
Wade Neely, Chris Yao. It's already fun.
It has been fun. Mondays are always a mess, but...
Messy Monday.
That may be the new theme for this show. Oh, man.
We're getting it figured out, though. It's going to be a work in progress as we go, but we are looking forward to visiting with Blake Lovell in the second hour, talking a little Southeastern Conference basketball. We had some fun over the weekend in SEC hoops. Going to check in with VALAIR SHABILLA as the Nashville Soccer Club continues on its CONCACAF Champions run. It's Champions Cup. Champions run's an eagle. Champions Cup run. And what else are we going to talk about? Talk about a little high school basketball.
High school basketball.
Big high school basketball weekend this past weekend. Big high school basketball week coming up, starting tonight. Or continuing tonight. A lot going on. How did you guys survive the weekend? Ouch.
I didn't. No, it was a good weekend. This yesterday, I don't know if you guys are starting to feel, with daylight savings time coming up, yesterday felt like the longest day in the history of the world to me.
You know what? You're right. And I don't
dragged.
know. Yeah.
I wasn't mad about it because it's a Sunday for me, and so
I wasn't necessarily mad about it, but man, I was tired.
Yeah, and it was just dragged and dragged, and I was like, is it like not bedtime yet? It wasn't. It was like 5.
Well, there was stuff that I wanted to get done that I was just too tired to do by the end of the day yesterday. Long weekend. Wade, how about you? I know you had a Wade was the hero of the weekend because Wade went out to Huntington and did a turn and burn Saturday.
Woo, yeah. Huntington was a happening spot Saturday night. We hate that Summertown came up empty, but...
great ball game.
Electric place. First time I'd covered a game over there. And, we had a fantastic time as the Phillies knocked off Summertown. They've been region rivals, and now they went in the sectional. And so... like I said, hate to see Summertown come up shy, but it was a great game for sure.
That's Phillies, Phillies, for those Major League Baseball fans that might be a little confused. Yeah. The Phillies of Huntington because the boys are the Mustangs. Sort of like Vikings and Queens.
A little bit.
Over community.
A little local knowledge. And, Mary Austin is big into horses, so we pulled on the Mustang Drive, and she was excited about that. And then, the Phillies, they got a good team. And I'm excited for this week for the state tournament. Obviously, the boys sectionals will be exciting tonight, but I'm excited for the ladies to tip it off in the borough later this week.
Yeah, we'll be talking brackets here in a little bit as we dive into high school basketball. Again, boys sectionals tonight. Girls Division I tournament starts Wednesday. Boys is next week. So, we'll be diving into that, like we said, a lot to get into. I guess we're going to have MON-STARS in the next segment. I have no idea who mine are, except for one.
Yeah. Okay.
So, again, it's going to be a work in progress.
All of that.
All day here on Main Street Sports Today in the Lee Company studios. So, what do you say? Should we get started?
Let's go.
Let's give the people this weekend's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education in Murray County. Give them a call today at 931-388-5831 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule your appointment today. Zion Christian, prepared for college, equipped for purpose.
Girls basketball results from way back on Friday. We begin this one. It was Good Pasture knocking off the Kings Academy in state tournament action. Again, 58-47 was your final from Friday of last week. Then we tiptoe into the weekend in earnest. Saturday results coming down the pike here now. Bartlett 60, Rossview 23. Lincoln County knocking off Beach 55-39. It was Cleveland winning by 2, 40-38 versus Blackman. Bradley Central kept rolling and cruised to a 67-23 win versus Oakland. Clarksville had a scare but rallied for a 62-51 win versus Collierville. Coffee County defeated Hendersonville by the count of 63-30. Smith County winning in a close one, 40-37 versus East Nashville. It was USJ 70, Good Pasture 58. We mentioned Huntington and Summertown, 52-49 was your final there as the Phillies knock off the Lady Eagles. Also, this game in Lawrence County, but it was Loretto at home with a big win, 64-36 versus Cheatham County. Chester County, 54, Station Camp 47. Wayne County defeated Eagleville 54-46, and it was York Institute 64-38. Concluding our girls basketball action from Saturday. On Friday in boys basketball, it was Providence Christian putting up 54 and winning by 14 versus Evangelical Christian. Saturday saw Briarcrest Christian winning at 80-71 versus Brentwood Academy. FACS winning by 2 on Saturday to cap the Saturday results 57-55.
That's just an unfortunate. Just seeing FACS by 2 over Providence Christian, and you're sitting there going,
If you're Columbia Academy,
Yeah.
you're like,
yeah,
yeah, that's tough. That was tough to watch, I'm sure. Men's basketball action over the weekend on Friday. Austin Peay defeated Bellarmine 90-87. It was Lipscomb with an 81-67 win over Eastern Kentucky. Fisk defeated Wiley 65-56 at the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference tournament. That was in the quarterfinal round. And UT Southern, the Firehawks, with a 71-54 win over Mobile in the semifinals of the Southern States Athletic Conference tournament. On Saturday, Vanderbilt falls at home to Louisiana State 75-61. UT Martin with a 96-87 win over Tennessee State earns the Skyhawks a share of the Ohio Valley Conference Championship. We'll talk more about this one, I'm sure. Tennessee 81, Alabama 74 down in Tuscaloosa. Sam Houston with an 81-64 win over visiting Middle Tennessee State. University of the Cumberlands of Williamsburg, Kentucky defeated Cumberland University of Lebanon, Tennessee 100-81. Dillard with a 72-54 win over Fisk in the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference tournament. Trevecca 76, Kentucky Wesleyan 71, and in the finals? Semifinals. What is this?
That's championship.
Championship of the Southern States tournament. It was Loyola 51, UT Southern 48. On Sunday, Belmont downed Evansville 83-66.
Women's basketball from Friday, Belmont down to Indiana State 87-62. It was Georgetown College 85-67 winners over Cumberland. And in the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference quarterfinals, Fisk down to Talladega 67-49 on Saturday. Lipscomb down to Eastern Kentucky 71-68. Austin Peay falls to Bellarmine 76-71. It was Tennessee State 55, UT Martin 53. Middle Tennessee State on senior day puts it on Sam Houston 93-62.
Four starters in double digits.
Hey, big day for the Lady Raiders. Fisk down Philander Smith in the GCAC semifinals, 62-49. It was Kentucky Wesleyan 72, Trevecca 77 for Kentucky Wesleyan, 72 for Trevecca. On Sunday, South Carolina takes care of Tennessee, but closer than the experts may have expected. 76-68 the final there. Vanderbilt downs Georgia and the Lady Dogs 72-55. It was Belmont 80, Evansville 55, and in the GCAC championship game, Rust defeated Fisk 67-39.
A Couple of other scores, professional scores coming in from the weekend on Saturday. The Preds, holy smokes. Like I said, folks, they are officially a wagon. Preds putting up 5 goals, Avalanche with just 1. They are on fire as of late. In the NBA, it was a double dip, as it were. And unfortunately for the Grizzlies, they lost both. The Trailblazers won the first game on Friday, 122-92. Saturday goes in favor of Portland as well, 107-100. And in a game we'll talk about a little bit more later on Saturday night, Colorado Rapids and NSC played to a 1-1 draw. Tough result there for Nashville, as it were, on the road, but got a point, and which is always half the battle. So that caps your results as we now look ahead into our schedule.
Yes, and our schedule includes spring sports at the high school level as of today. Couple of softball games of note. Riverdale goes to Nolensville. That's a 4:30 start, and at 6:30, Blackman is at Cascade. Boys basketball tonight. These are all 7 o'clock local time starts, local to the home team. So we'll try to give you a heads up if they aren't central. Dixon County goes to Bartlett. Portland is at Creekwood. Frank Hughes is at Eagleville. Mount Pleasant travels to Hickman County. Hillsborough hosts Brentwood. Chester County is at Hume-Fogg. Independence takes on Visiting Beach. Lawrence County goes to Red Bank, which is in Chattanooga, which is in Eastern time. So that is a 6 o'clock start if you are traveling from Lawrenceburg. Keep that in mind.
So get on the road pretty quick.
Yeah, get moving. Especially if you're going across 64. Definitely get moving. Cordova is at Rossview. Laverne is at Walker Valley, which is in Bradley County, which is in Eastern time. So again, that's going to be a 6 o'clock start if you are traveling from Laverne. Be safe. Santa Fe goes to Wayne County. Be safe. East Nashville is at White House Heritage.
Don't speed.
No, not if you're going down the trace. And finally, Jackson County is at Whites Creek. That's a 7 o'clock tip. In baseball today, Houston County was supposed to play at Santa Fe, but we have word that that game has been canceled because of the sub-state sectional, depending on your age. Riverdale is at Coffee County. Hampshire goes to Zion Christian. Both those games are at 6 o'clock. At 6:30, the Devin Simler era begins at Columbia Central as the Lions take on Visiting Centennial. Cheatham County is at Lawson. Nolensville is at Rockvale. Stewart's Creek is at Siegel. All of those are 6:30 starts. At 7, the Tennessee Heat is at the Middle Tennessee Monarchs, wherever that is. Soccer. I wonder if the Knights rode over together because Nolensville is at Rockvale for a 6:30 first touch in that one as well. And finally, in the association, the Grizzlies travel to Brooklyn, baby, taking on the Nets. 6:30 tip on Bally Sports. That is your rundown. Top story of the day brought to you as always by the fine folks over at Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill here in Columbia. Be sure and get through there for their delicious daily deli lunch options. The minute steak, pinto beans, and mac and cheese were clutch today, by the way. So again, get through Piggly Wiggly for their meat and 3 options. Also, their hand-cut meats and everything is cost plus 10% at the register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, our top story sponsor. And the top story actually comes from Friday night. As Raja Karuth won the Victoria's Voice 200 NASCAR Truck Series race out at Vegas on Friday night. The 21-year-old went, I don't know if he went pole to wire, but he was on the pole. And he
Did
won
not
the
win
race.
all 3 stages, but
Okay.
but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
Doesn't matter who wins the stages if you win
It
the
really
race.
doesn't. I don't think anybody really remembers who wins the stages, do they? Other than
It's
points,
just points.
maybe?
It's just points. Yep. So, and you get a lot more points if you win the race. So better to win the race than the stages.
There you go. So, and Raja Karuth won the points for winning the race, becoming the 3rd African-American driver to win a NASCAR Series race, joining, obviously, the legendary Wendell Scott and Bubba Wallace in doing so. Bubba won both the Truck Series and has won in the Cup Series. So 4 races, 3 drivers, all historic. Contrary to what some folks might say otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a big deal, and
Unfortunately, maybe, but
maybe, but you know, a lot of people will say, well, when do we stop? 5th, 6th, 7th? Well, who cares? I mean, we would love to see.
when it becomes less a anomaly,
There you go.
when we start seeing more than one guy out there competing.
Yeah, when it's not, when there's not only but one option for those guys to win.
When we start seeing multiple black drivers, then maybe it stops being a thing.
Well, and that has been a focus for NASCAR for the last several years. I think obviously you're seeing the fruits of that labor starting to find its way. Heck of a weekend for the for the, what do they call it?
Drive for diversity?
The Drive for Diversity folks, because Kyle Larson, of course, won
Vegas, the Cup.
the Cup race on Sunday, and he was a member of that program. So pretty big weekend down in Vegas for them. I thought Rajah Caruth's win is even more impressive when you consider that his number 71 HendricksCars.com truck, which ironic, HendricksCars.com in the Truck Series.
Maybe they need to tweak that HendricksTrucks.com.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But Caruth gets the win on the 83rd birthday of Dave Marcy, who was the first NASCAR driver to ride in number 71 and made it an icon. Made 71 a legendary number in NASCAR. So how about that?
Okay.
Little history there for you.
Wade?
And a cool event in the sense that this is what caught my eye, that Caruth didn't even start racing until the summer of 2019 and got his start. This is how the world works now. Got to start racing on video games and on computers. And a kid from DC, you know, who's only racing experience kind of coming from video games to less than 5 years later, winning a race is a really cool thing. And then obviously, you know, Bubba Wallace showing his support, saying what a massive win for my little brother. What a phenomenal win or monumental win for our sport. Just good vibes all around. And kind of like you guys both mentioned, that, I mean, if you're going to create a program, Drive for Diversity, and you want to see some results, I mean, this is a slam dunk, right? Talking about just how much success that program and those graduates have had. And if nothing else, I'm always kind of on the fringe of NASCAR and racing outside of a little F1. And so the only thing that really kind of catches my eyes, our story like this, and really in the sense that you got a young kind of up and coming popular driver for a sport that, as we've talked with Heather a couple of times, is kind of in need of feel good stories. And we're seeing some major, you know, headlines the last couple of races, and to see a young kid come in and kind of steal some of the show. I think this is a great win for not just NASCAR, but American racing as a whole.
It's in need of feel-good stories. I think it's in need of a little juice, a little buzz in some areas where you aren't necessarily getting that buzz otherwise. And I think young drivers from underserved communities within that sport may kind of give you a little bit of that. I mean, who knows who's watching Rajah Caruth in the winner's circle who decides, I want to do that. So, I mean,
and I think that's the big deal. A lot of people asking why are we so caught up in the race of the driver, or you know what a driver looks like, whether it's male, female, black, white, Asian, whatever. And the simple fact is that, I mean, if you want to grow the sport, and the sport needs to grow, the best way to do that is by opening your doors to everyone.
Expanding your audience.
And expanding that audience, and by doing so with Caruth and with Kyle Larson and this drive for diversity, this whole program, it's the same reason that I watch WNBA games with my daughter. I want her to see people that look like her doing it on a professional level. I want her to see that females are able to play professional sports or whatever. I want young black kids to know that other young black kids are doing this and they're being successful at it. And it doesn't take, it doesn't take just football or basketball or even baseball, to a much lesser degree than it should be these days. We've had that conversation 100 times. But, you don't have to, go out there and put your body on the line to be successful in athletics.
Not to say that you're not putting your body on the line when you get in
sure.
a car and drive 200 miles an hour, but beyond all that, to those that are asking the question, why does it matter? I mean, why are you bothered? You mad, bro?
Well,
what?
I mean, the implication is that it doesn't matter, and I think to a point that you made a couple of years ago that stuck with me pretty heavily was, we want you to see the color and it not matter. So it does matter, but then it doesn't. It matters because it's important to understand that only people who look like Dale Earnhardt are not the only people capable of
being successful
in this sport. And so that's why it matters. And so it's kind of, it's hard to make that explanation, but you have to acknowledge that it's someone different than that doing it now than has done it in the past. And that's why it's important to continue to acknowledge it until, like you said, it's commonplace for black drivers
until it's
to
not
be
1 in 32.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 40, as is most likely the case,
Right,
in the Cup race. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get off our soapboxes now, and we will be talking about a little bit more diverse sport when we come back, because we're going to be joined by VALAIR SHABILLA, talking a little everyone in as the Nashville Soccer Club goes for its third win in CONCACAF Champions Cup play later this week, and it'll be a test. But we will continue that conversation when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us here in the Lee Company studio when we come back. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Welcome back to the Monday Mirror, or the Messy Monday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. Those guys, see, I figured it out. Chris Yao, Wade Neely with you here. And we are now joined by our Nashville Sports Club expert, VALAIR SHABILLA. VALAIR, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you guys. Thank you for having me again.
No, man, thank you for coming on with us. Back-to-back scoreless draws in MLS play. How are we feeling about that? Whoa, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. The last one wasn't scoreless. It was 1-1. But the one goal for Colorado Springs was a Nashville own goal. I mean, how are we feeling about 0-2 in MLS play?
It's looking a little rough. It's looking a little bit more of what we saw last season. There are reasons for it. There are, if you talk to Gary Smith or the players, they'll tell you that missing your top three forwards pretty much is what this comes down to. Two of which are designated players, in Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surridge. They are the two best paid players on Nashville SC. So missing them, not having them around, they both ended up exiting the early Mocha game, the first Mocha game early. So Hani Mukhtar got about 35 minutes in him before getting substituted, and Sam Surridge got about 55 or 56 minutes. So not a whole lot of production from those two. And if those two are not on the pitch, then look, it's gonna be battle. It's not gonna look very nice, and that's what we've seen. They got lucky enough for both games against the Red Bulls at home in the home opener and against the Colorado Rapids away from home. They got away with a point. They still undefeated in the 4 games they've played this season, the 2 CONCACAF Champions Cup game and the 2 MLS games. I don't think anyone is optimistic on what they've seen, but also I think the reasons that I've mentioned before as far as the injuries and the congested schedule might be the biggest factor of the results we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I guess first things first, Valair, what is the status of both Hani and Surge there as we are we looking at a prolonged absence here for either one of those guys?
Based on what Gary Smith was saying, no, Surge is out of the sling, so that's a good point. He hurt his shoulder down in the Dominican Republic. However, just knowing the nature of those injuries, it's probably unlikely to see him. Hani Mukhtar is a lot closer based on what we're hearing from Gary Smith and the Nashville team. Hani Mukhtar was even talked about being maybe available for the Colorado game, but Gary Smith said, he might be available for the Miami game. So we might see him on Thursday. And then the last one is Randall Leal, who's a little bit on a longer-term injury, but he's also on the way back. The initial timeline, I think, had him back for the Galaxy game, which is the one after the Miami game this Sunday. But, again, this is when the injury is healed, which doesn't mean that you're ready to play right away. For some of these guys, they haven't really been around the pitch a whole lot. But the main one is, of course, Hani Mukhtar, League MVP in 2022. He seems to be on his way back. As far as everything we've heard, is not a major injury. And if he's not available against Miami, I'll be a little surprised. But definitely against the Galaxy, we'll most likely be able to see him.
And I guess coming out of the Colorado match from Saturday, I mean, with the penalty kick in the 90th minute, to me at least, obviously the season at large, maybe not optimistic with the start. And those are matches, unfortunately, that you may look back late in the year and wish you had gotten more points from. But to me, at least, I'm taking a little bit of a optimistic viewpoint in the sense that you were just a couple beats away from suffering a loss on the road, and you somehow salvaged a point without some of your top playmakers offensively.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's kind of the positive spin into it, right? I mean, people can look at it in different ways, but when you look at Colorado and what they created in that game, they didn't really do much. It was a lot different than the Red Bulls games at home, where Red Bulls were attacking. Red Bull hit the post 3 times, to where Colorado didn't really have that much of attack. There was a Joe Willis save. There was a Jack Mayer clearance, that kind of saved that draw or salvaged that draw. But when you look at what Colorado created, it wasn't really a whole lot. And to kind of keep going on your point, if Shaq Moore hadn't headed that ball, unfortunately, into his own net, Nashville might be looking at even a win from an away game that they didn't really get to play a whole lot in. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a reason to be panicking at the moment. I understand the fans' frustration because, again, it looks more of the same of what last year looked like. But currently, with the situation that's going on with Nashville SC, I just think it's too early to make any judgments of them for this season.
One other question I had with those guys being out, what have you noticed tactically, if anything, that NSC has kind of done to mask, I guess, the fact that, they are without some of their elite forwards at the moment? What have you noticed?
So Saturday night, after the match, we got the chance to speak to Gary Smith, and I asked him about this because they ended the Red Bulls game with 5 at the back or 3 at the back, so that's more defenders on the pitch. And then they started the Colorado game in that same shape, which is 3 at the back, 3 center backs available. So I asked Gary Smith about that, and his reasoning was simply numbers. I mean, he was telling me that they have a lot of defenders, good quality defenders. They have, a good amount of midfielders or a few midfielders at hand at least. But in attackers, they just don't have the numbers. They don't have those numbers. And when you look at the way some of these attackers play, like Jacob Schaffelberg and Mackenzie Gaines specifically, these are very bursting forward. So they are making these runs very fast, and they're putting a lot of effort into each attack. Even if it doesn't pan out, even if they're not getting the ball, they're still putting in that effort, which is why you see a lot of those wingers like Mackenzie Gaines and Jacob Schaffelberg rarely ever play 90 minutes because they're putting in so much effort down the flank, right? So with the extra defender, it just provides a little bit more stability for Nashville SC, and I would not be at all shocked or surprised if they go with that for the Miami game on Thursday, because when you look at the 3 center backs, that is where you have the most quality for Nashville SC. Walker Zimmerman, Defender of the Year, for 2 years running in MLS, not the last year, but the 2 years before that. Jack Mayer, an up-and-coming young center back who's been in talks of being best 11, and Lucas McDonald, who they got on a bargain deal from Toronto and has turned out to be a Canadian international, really. He's been playing with the Canadian national team as well. He's featured a couple times for them. So you look at those 3 as your center backs, and I think it makes complete sense for me to start with that formation, to have all three of them on the pitch, because those are your strongest players.
VALAIR Shabilla joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little Nashville Soccer Club. And again, the CONCACAF Champions Cup continues Thursday with, as Wade likes to refer to them, Messi coming into Geodis Park, taking on Nashville Soccer Club. Obviously, VALAIR, this is an uphill battle for Nashville, and even more so given the health situation up front in particular. What are the expectations? I mean, I don't think it's not, Nashville isn't Mocha to Inter Miami's Nashville, are they?
They're not. It's not at that level. It is still miles apart. And I mean, let's go ahead and talk about it. Lionel Messi, right? How's the best player of all time. Even his biggest haters will agree that if he's not the best player of all time, one of top 3 players of all time. And we were talking all time, as in all 150 years of professional soccer or whatever. So yeah, he's really good. That's my analysis on it. But in all honesty, I mean, you're looking at more so of what Miami did this offseason. They went and got a guy like Julian Gressel, who got 2 assists. That's more of the support cast, if you would. Obviously, they have the Busquets, Messi, Suarez now, and Alba, who all 4 of those are incredible players, some of the best players of all time, in their own merit, even without Messi. But they've all played with Messi before. They all know each other, and they're all very happy to be in Miami, not only collecting paychecks, playing beautiful soccer, and living in Miami. So they're having a good time. They beat Orlando 5-0 just this weekend. Orlando finished second in MLS Supporters Shield last season. They are a very good team. They knocked Nashville out of the playoffs. They just destroyed them 5-0. Now, not every game is going to be Orlando. Not every game they're going to go in winning 5-0, but that is in their toolbox. We know that about Miami. We know that about Messi. But like I said, there are some other guys like Julian Gressel, who I really like, of course. And anybody who's been around MLS will know him. He's not a star player or anything like that, but he is kind of that engine, and he can play center mid or right back. They just traded DeAndre Yedlin, who was a U.S. international, to Cincinnati to free up some cap space as well. So he might be featured in the right back, Julian Gressel, but keep an eye out for him. But of course, I mean, like, they have Suarez, like Luis Suarez is just an incredible striker. He played last season. They also added him in the summer. He played last season they added him in the winter, in January. He played last season in Brazil and had, I think, 30 goals or something close to it, which is incredible at his age. And if he can do that in Brazil, he can surely do that in MLS. So it's an uphill battle for sure. It's not the one thing that kind of you can tell that you can say about Nashville SC is that they've played Inter Miami with Messi twice already, and in 210 minutes, Inter Miami were able to score 1 goal and not win in regular time at all. Both games ended 0-0 and 1-1. So they've done this before. Yes, they didn't have Suarez, but that doesn't change a whole lot when you look at the whole team. So again, it's a different season. Things can go either way, but Nashville have done this before. They are very good defensively, and if they keep their shape, they might be able to get something out of this match at home on Thursday.
I'm curious, Valere, Thursday's match, is there any positive for the fact that Nashville does have at least the 2 Mocha matches in that particular cup play under its belt, whereas Miami's coming in fresh to this tournament?
A little bit. I mean, it would have been much better if it was a little earlier for Miami, because they've already played 3 MLS games, actually, Inter Miami, more than any other MLS team. So they ended up opening the season on Wednesday before everybody else played, and ended up getting that extra game under their belt. But that also can affect them because, like I said, the ages of these players, the age profile it's late 30s for these star players, right? So they just played on Saturday. They're not going to be as fresh as a 22-year-old or a 25-year-old will be. The couple advantages I'll say with Nashville SC is that they've had another game under their belt without Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surridge in Colorado. So maybe that does help out a little bit. Maybe giving that shape that I was talking about with the back 5, that allows them to, because Gary Smith said they never practiced that during the preseason. So they were never able to play a back 5 in the preseason because they didn't anticipate this happening. So maybe another game in the back five, like the Colorado game, will get them a little more comfortable going into this Miami match, since they did get to play that Colorado match in that shape.
Playing this first leg at home, obviously a win would be massive, but what's a realistic expectation for Thursday at home? And then how much or how many goals maybe would NSC need to win by to really put themselves in a good position for the next week on the return leg?
The easy answer is as many goals they can score, right? But I'll give you a real answer, is that no one is expecting Nashville SC to come out with a win on Thursday. I mean, maybe some people are talking about a draw, maybe a 1-0 win, even possible, or 2-1 win. But they are definitely going into this as the underdogs. But that has been where Nashville SC, as an organization, for the last 8 years or so of their professional involvement back in USL as well as in MLS, that's when they thrive as underdogs. They've been able to win some really huge matches as the underdogs, and as soon as they become the favorite, they don't really deliver. So I think there's something to be said there, and I think going into this match, having no one believing in them, I think that will be a point that Gary Smith's gonna hone into these players right before the match. Hey, look at every pundit out there, every fan out there. No one thinks you're going to get anything out of Miami. Go prove that you are Shaq Moore, the USMNT player. Go prove that you are Walker Zimmerman, the World Cup starter, Walker Zimmerman. There's a lot of motivation from Nashville's part. And then there's also motivation in the attack, because the current attackers, you're looking at guys who maybe get limited minutes if Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surridge weren't hurt. They have a motivation as well, because they want to prove their spot in the team. Everybody's talking about how Nashville is hurting without these actual two, Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surridge. Well, Jacob Schaffelberg, Teal Bunbury, even Mackenzie Gaines might take a little bit of offense to that. Hey, I'm here. I can prove myself, and maybe go get yourself a goal against Miami. All of a sudden, people are buying your jersey. So I think there's a lot of Nashville motivations that could go into this, and that would be the point that I would drive the most if I was Nashville SC, because that's kind of where you can get the most out of your players.
So then, Valair, are we going to see some Nashville versus everybody T-shirts Thursday night, or what?
If they get a result against Miami, I guarantee you there will be that. The thing is, while I say nobody expects them to win, everybody in the MLS community will probably be cheering for them to win, because Miami is a team to hate, other than Miami, of course, right? So there's everybody versus Miami, and Nashville just happens to be there more so.
Got you. Okay. All right.
It makes sense. Hey, Valair, too, speaking of, and this may be the last tactical question I guess I'll ask, but with it being that first leg, if things kind of got crazy, whether it's Nashville leading potentially by 2 goals or obviously potentially trailing by a couple of goals, considering you have the return leg next week, does Gary make adjustments on the fly and just try and mitigate the damage, or try and just dial in that result? How does that work for the lay person, I guess, in terms of cup play?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. You'll have to adjust, whether on the fly or even before the match, really, because you don't have, because you have a match in between as well. So you play Thursday, Sunday, then you play Wednesday again, which is a lot of matches. They've been playing 2 matches each week. So Nashville SC players are, they're physical, they're very fit guys, but look, this is not a sustainable schedule at this point. So in terms of tactically, yeah, I can totally see something like that where, hey, if Nashville goes 1-0 up or 2-0 up, I can totally see Gary putting in maybe another defender, or maybe putting in somebody like Brian Anunga, who is a center mid but plays it in a little bit more defensive way, versus somebody like Drew Yearwood, who's still a center mid but plays it in an attacking way, right? So I can see stuff like that. But honestly, I think the most adjustments you'll see more so from Tata Martino and the Miami side, more so than Gary Smith, because Gary Smith is a little bit limited with the injuries that are coming up to him, to where on Miami's side, they have to manage those minutes very carefully. If they just play a lot of those, again, Suarez, Messi, they played almost 90 minutes against Orlando. These are people in their late 30s. They are not as fit, like we talked about. So maybe he will have a little bit more adjustment on his part, especially knowing that the return leg is back home at Miami for them. You're a lot more comfortable there. But honestly, Miami players and the coach have come out and said that this is their goal is to win every competition and specifically to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup because this is the one that puts you on the map worldwide, right? So I highly doubt Messi or Suarez or any of those guys will want any rest, and I think they're going to go for it. But if Suarez was to rest, Leo Campana comes in, another DP striker who's really good. So they have a lot more options and a lot of things to play with, which is why I think there'll be more tactical changes from the Miami side, more so than Nashville.
And going into Thursday's match, now put on your fan hat, I guess. And we saw what happened when Miami came to town last year, but that was, a Leagues Cup final. What's the buzz? Obviously reading a lot of chatter about season ticket holders and prices being inflated. But I guess the other key point is Messi is unlikely to be featured when the team comes back in June with the Copa America going on. So I guess if you would kind of just paint that picture in the sense that where the ticket market stands and how fans can maybe get to this match on Thursday.
Yeah, I think Nashville City disappointed a lot of people once they came out with their pricing for this match. So if you're a season ticket holder, you did get the right to reserve your seat for this match. Now, this match is not included in your season tickets because it's a cup match and not an MLS match, right? However, if you reserve the right to your seat, you have to purchase that seat at 4 times and sometimes 5 times the price that you originally had per game. So while Nashville SC claims that this is still on the cheaper side to go see Messi in Miami, which I understand, I think a lot of fans are very frustrated with the fact that a seat that cost $100 is now almost $500. And should that be the case just because one player is coming to town? It's not a good look. There's a lot. I think a lot of folks are very upset about it. There's talks of protest or even just people not going to the game. And I think, and honestly, what that's going to affect Nashville SC more so than anybody, because if you don't have your season ticket holders there, which, by the way, at this moment, if you try to purchase season tickets, there is a wait list for Nashville SC season tickets because they have sold out of season tickets for the entire for this entire Geodis Park. So when you're talking about that core fan base that could really create a home field advantage for you when Messi and them are coming to your town, and you kind of treat them in this way, I think you'll lose a little bit of that home field advantage. And then I think that's something that Nashville SC might look back in and maybe just regret a little bit. Because if you go into Geodis Park and there's a bunch of pink jerseys and a bunch of Messi jerseys, that's not going to be the same Geodis Park that we saw, even against the Red Bulls on Sunday. So I think that's a little upsetting, and I think you lose a little bit because, honestly, Geodis Park is one of the best venues in MLS. It's almost brand new, right. And it's almost always sold out and full of Nashville SC fans. So it's really disappointing to see that not happen. And to your other point, yes, Messi will most likely almost 100% not be around for the other match that Miami's guaranteed to come to Nashville for, which will be in late June because of Copa America going on. Copa America is a competition for the national team, so he'll be playing with Argentina, representing his country. So that takes priority, of course, above club soccer. So with that said, that means that Thursday could be the only time you see Messi play against Nashville here at Geodis Park. Of course, Leagues Cup is still an option, but that's not guaranteed. And then MLS playoffs are still an option, but also that's not guaranteed for either team or the bracket, however that comes out. So, Thursday might be your only chance of seeing Messi this season in Geodis Park.
One other quick question about the ticket prices. Obviously, this is the one that's getting a lot of buzz. But if Nashville were to somehow advance in this tournament, is that ticket trend going to continue upward, or is this kind of just truly a one-off considering the opponent that's coming to town? Because, I would be willing to maybe make the sacrifice financially if it was a later round match, but considering it's only the second round of 16, rather, it does feel a little unique. And I'm just curious, would that continue the rounds, the price increase even for season ticket holders?
We haven't heard any information. To put it in perspective, the Mocha match last week, for example, those tickets were marked down. so it's a little different.
Get paid to go.
We're used to. Yeah. Of course, just because of the change between Mocha and Miami, that tells me that they don't have a set price for tickets. So the next round will be, if Nashville were to advance, they'll play either Monterrey, who is a huge team from Mexico, or Cincinnati. I am almost willing to guarantee that the prices will not be the same price when it comes to that. I highly doubt Nashville will be charging 4 times as much to see Monterrey or Cincinnati when Messi doesn't play for either of them. So no information has come out, and there's nothing guaranteed, but I would highly suspect that the prices will go back, if not normal, close to normal probably for the following round if Nashville were to make it.
Yeah, just real convenient that Thursday's match with Messi coming to town is just skyrocketed in terms of season ticket, even increased price, right? Purely coincidental.
Just happens sometimes, can't control it.
Yeah.
VALAIR SHABILLA with us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little Nashville Soccer Club, NSC hosting Inter Miami, 8 o'clock Thursday night at Geodis Park. First of 2 games at Geodis this week as they will return to MLS play Sunday, 2 o'clock p.m. against the LA Galaxy. Make plans to attend. VALAIR, we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on again.
All righty. Hey, when we come back here to the Lee Company studios, it'll be time for MON-STARS as we give you our top individual performers from the weekend. So stay tuned here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA. With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome back to the Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, Wade Neely giving you our top individual performers from the weekend. And if either of y'all has got one, go ahead and fire it off. I'll wait.
I do. I'll start in the National Hockey League, where Cody Glass with the hat trick. Oh man, you should have let me start.
I should have went.
Cody Glass with a hat trick against the Avalanche in a 5-1 win over Colorado. Big win for the Predators.
Wade?
Can't hear you.
Wade? Wade, we can't hear you. I don't know what would have happened.
Oh man, that is tragic. Come back to me in 1 second, because I had a great one a second ago when you said Glass. I was going to say all we needed was the Stone Cold theme music right there, and we'd have been good to go.
So come back to you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, come back to me in just one moment.
Okay, we'll come back to you in just one moment. In the meantime, I'm going to go with Louisiana Lafayette pitcher Chloe Riazetto, who threw all 8 innings, 136 pitches of the Ragin' Cajuns' 7-5 victory in 8 innings at Oklahoma yesterday, ending the Sooners' 71-game win streak. ULala was up 5-3. Oklahoma scored twice in the 7th to force extra innings. Lafayette scored twice. I'm sorry. They tied at 4-4, Oklahoma did. Lafayette scored 3 times in the top of the 8th, and Riazetto gave up a solo home run, but faced the game-tying run and forced a fly out there to preserve the 7-5 victory. Again, Oklahoma's first loss in 72 games. Pretty impressive performance for the Ragin' Cajuns, who are not unaccustomed to the big stage, but still, going into Oklahoma and winning isn't something that happens a whole lot. So congratulations to them and to her.
All right, I got a couple, and you guys know me, I'm prone to homerism over the history of this show here, but I got to go. I got to give a tip of the cap to UT Southern men's basketball standout, Darian Hudson. He's already the program's all-time leader in points, assists, and steals, but he eclipsed the 2,000-point mark for his career with a great performance at the conference championship. We gave it to you in the rundown. They made it to the championship game and lost by 3 to Loyola. But this kid, Hudson, out of Springfield, he's a homegrown kid, and man, has he delivered. He is, for a school that's had some really good guards over the years, he is going to stand alone, and he has 2,000 career points. First ever to do that at UT Southern, formerly known as Martin Methodist.
I will go to the Division II Class A Girls Basketball Championship, where University School of Jackson's Halen Ayers led the way with 30 points in the state championship game to lead her team to a state title, as we told you in the rundown.
We might not have told you everything in the rundown. We told you the score.
Yep.
70-58 over Good Pasture. That was 70-58 in triple overtime.
Yeah. And that was what was crazy. It was like 12 points in triple OT. That's wild.
Well, I wonder if somebody finally just got worn down. Or if somebody fouled out. Or if a few folks fouled out.
Could have certainly been part of it. But Halen Ayers is a freshman.
Halen Ayers is a freshman.
She's also 6 feet tall.
Which is about 8 inches taller than her mom, former Vanderbilt point guard Ashley McElhaney Ayers.
Yep.
So, apple tree.
There you go.
Yeah. Wade, you want me to go again?
Now, come back to me real quick. Or I'm ready to rock and roll. I mentioned I'm a homer, and there's a little something to this NASCAR, and there may or may not have been some financial implications involved with this, but I got to give a shout out to our guy, Daniel Suarez. I had him in a head-to-head matchup. You know, he finished 11th in that Chevy 99, but I had him in a head-to-head matchup versus Chase Briscoe over the weekend, and he made it a little easy for me. He finished 10 spots ahead of Briscoe, who finished in that Ford number 14 car at the 21st position. So shout out to Suarez. You know, like I said, a little bit of a homer pick, but I'm not above that necessarily.
No, we don't mind homer picks when they involve trackhouse racers. So that's good. I'm going to go, and I was hoping all three of my picks might be a little obscure, but obviously Cody Glass was not obscure enough. But Yusuf Nurkic.
Oh, my, yes.
14 points, 31 rebounds, the latter setting a Phoenix Suns franchise record last night in their 118-110 loss to Oklahoma City. 31 rebounds, the most in the NBA in a single game in 14 years.
You know, it's funny. I almost texted you guys last night, but it was about 11 o'clock. I was like, are you checking out this box score right now? Because I had a friend that sent this to me and said, is this real? 31 rebounds. You know, you thought your ESPN app had just blown up.
Had
for
glitched.
A second there.
Yeah.
You thought there was a typo. You know, maybe 21 rebounds, but not 31. Holy cow.
Maybe 13. Maybe they got it reversed, right?
Yeah.
That's more than some teams get in the NBA, considering how little they miss.
Very good. Yeah.
So, well, it's not 31, but it is 16 to go along with 26 points as number 12 Creighton defeated Marquette 89-75 on Saturday behind Baylor Shireman's 26-16 performance. So for that, he gets my third MON-STAR.
Wade, you got another MON-STAR?
Yep, last MON-STAR for me. I opened with UT Southern. I'm going to close with UT Southern. But this one, even though Darian is a Tennessee kid, this one hits even a little closer to home. Shout out to our guy, Brady Brown, former Summertown standout, who is now the all-time UT Southern three-point leader. He's banged home 206 threes. And you guys got to cover him in high school. I did just a touch, but I got to cover the first couple of seasons of him when he was a young pup at then Martin Methodist, but now 206 threes. He's the all-time three-point leader, and Darian is the all-time point scorer. They have been an electric team to cover this season and to watch, and it was so fun because Brady Brown, he's just such a good kid too, and it's always great when you see good things happen to good kids, and he's worked hard, and he stands alone in three-point marksmanship for UT Southern.
Brady Brown of Summertown.
Man.
I could work with that. Yeah. You know, we've talked a lot about this UT Alabama game. We're probably going to talk a little bit more about it before the end of the show. And Zakai Ziegler was recognized as the ESPN player of the game, 18 points, 4 assists in that 81-74 victory. But I'm going to go with the Vol who had a double-double. Josiah Jordan-James, 11 points, 13 boards. I mean, he's no Yusuf Nurkic, but still, 13 boards. It's not bad. So, Josiah Jordan-James is my third MON-STAR for his part in UT's win on the road Saturday night. Let's take a break. And let's come back. And what are we going to do when we come back? We're going to talk a little high school basketball when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Welcome back to the second hour of the Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, Wade Neely. You get the whole shebang today and get a good look, because it's only one other time this week that we're all three together, I guess. Is that right?
We won't all three be together on Wednesday.
No, we won't. That's right.
Man.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, that's the only reason I signed on today, is I wanted to just set the vibe right, and now Yao kind of just brings me down a little bit.
It's not I didn't do it. It's just
bit of a bummer.
It is.
Just
but you know what?
The way it is. The way the cookie crumbles.
Hey, don't cry that it's over. Smile that it happened.
Yes,
Right?
okay, there we go. Now we're talking.
And why will we not be together?
We will be together.
Well,
at least once.
And so one of the big reasons that we will not be together on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday is the Blue Cross Basketball Championships.
Hashtag Blue Cross Hoops, according to Matt Gillespie in the TSSAA email this week. So.
I'd be curious how many other people besides us will be using
actually
that.
Use it. Yeah. Well,
we typically use Blue Cross Bowl and Blue Cross Hoops pretty regularly, so hopefully it will be more widespread.
Yeah, we try to conform.
We try.
Contrary to our personalities. Yeah.
Hey, same thing with me when I was at Martin Methodist. The NAI would put out their hashtags for the tournament, and I feel like I was the only person that was dutifully using the hashtags. So I know what we're talking about. But yeah, we're going to do it to the best of our abilities. We're going to have fun this week.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use it this week. We're going to see how it goes. And then we may or may not use it next week.
Yeah, I mean, there will be some Middle Tennessee teams. Will there be Southern Middle Tennessee teams? That is the question that we will answer tonight.
That is true. That is true. We definitely have one Southern Middle Tennessee team participating in the girls tournament, because as we mentioned in the rundown, Loretta took care of business in a pretty big way Saturday night against Cheatham County in the Class 2A sectionals, defeating the Lady Cubs 64-36. So Ashley Rutledge, Allie Weathers, and the gang will be back in the Glass House. They will play a 2:15 game on Thursday, the second day,
against Martin,
Westview,
whom they have played once in the last I guess it was 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago or was it last year?
Summertown last year, Loretta the year before.
Out there.
Yeah.
In the sectionals, yeah.
And that's where Carly Weathers' career ended, I believe.
I believe you're right. So.
Hey, question for you guys.
We won't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask it anyway then. The draw for the tournament, this is the first girls state tournament I've had the chance to cover in a couple of years for reasons. No need to throw any teams under the bus, I guess. But is the draw done immediately? And now is the draw for the boys going to be done after tonight as well? Because it seems like back in the day, that was kind of the cool part, is you had to wait for a few days for those obscure ping pong balls to kind of drop your way.
No more ping pong balls.
Oh, that was.
It's preset.
Okay.
I think they have kind of predetermined. It's secretly predetermined, and if you have two teams coming out of the same region, they have provisions to make sure that those are in separate semifinal brackets. But other than that, yeah, we knew these Saturday night.
And the boys is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you stayed up long enough Saturday night, you knew what the matchups were before you went to bed.
Man, I fondly reminisce Giles County back in the 2003 state championship run. We just had to sit there and agonizingly wait for a few days before you even found out who you were playing, let alone, obviously, you got to wait darn near 10 days before you finally get on the court again.
Yeah, the girls, they would play their sectionals on Saturday night, and then everybody would come to Murfreesboro on Sunday for the draw in the ping pong balls, as Wade said. And if you drew two from the same region before they were separated, that ping pong ball would go back in, and you'd keep drawing. And it happened right there in front of everybody. And then the boys would play their sectional, like you said, Wade, on Monday. After the girls' draw, before the girls' state tournament, they would come to town the following Sunday, and you would have the draw. So you would go, if you were a boys' team, you would go almost a week before you knew who you were playing, which boys' coaches weren't very happy about how that impacted their preparation.
Well, I mean, the same as the girls.
It was the same as the girls.
That's the point.
Yep.
Yeah, and I get that. You want to know, I guess, for schematic purposes as soon as possible. But the thing is everybody's in the same boat. It's not as if the 3A guys knew who they were playing and the 2A guys had to wait 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it's not like anybody was getting any kind of advantage, but nobody wanted to hear that.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
let's go through the schedule.
Yeah, because it starts at 9:30 a.m. Wednesday. It'll start at 9:30 a.m. all 3 days, actually. 4A quarterfinals get you started. Sevier County, Bartlett at 9:30. Cleveland, Lincoln County at roughly 11 o'clock. How about those Lady Falcons? I think this is their first ever.
How about that region, by the way?
Yeah, yeah. This is Lincoln County's first ever state tournament appearance. They are playing the Blue Raiders out of Cleveland, one of two girls basketball teams from Bradley.
The red, white, and blue team will win that game.
Right, yeah.
And Lincoln County gets in after the crazy buzzer beater versus Nolensville, which I don't know if we ended up running the video on the show or not, but just a crazy finish where they just threw one up, not even really, you didn't think it would even have a prayer of going in, and boom, bottoms up, and they knock off Nolensville. Now, Coach Tips and the bunch headed to Murfreesboro.
The only Tips going to Murfreesboro, by the way.
Good point.
12:45, you got Kingsport, Dobbins, Bennett, and the other team out of that region that you referred to, Coffee County, the Lady Raiders. And the finale in Class 4A has Bradley Central 31-1 and Clarksville 31-0 at about 2:15. And
That is unfortunate.
It really is unfortunate. I mean, you know, Sevier County comes in at 31-3, Coffee County's 33-3. But I think the consensus is that Bradley Central and Clarksville may be the two best teams in this thing. So
That's
unfortunate.
it is indeed.
It's very unfortunate. In Class 1A at 4 o'clock, you've got North Green and Greenfield.
North Green back again.
Moore County, the Lady Raiders, and Clay County at 5:30 roughly. At 7:15 is Cloudland and Pickett County, and at 8:45, I don't know when you're going to get a nap, but you might want to try. Wayne County and South Fulton in the nightcap on Wednesday. So
A trip back to Waynesboro is not going to be fun no matter what.
maybe they stay up.
Maybe.
Yeah. On Thursday, it starts again at 9:30. McMinn Central and York Institute in Class 2A quarterfinal action, followed by Gibson County and Huntington. Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Smith County at 12:45. And the final game in Class 2A is Loretto and Westview, as we discussed. 3A quarterfinal action starts at 4 o'clock on Thursday with Cott County and Heritage. Dyersburg and Jackson Southside. Greenville and Upperman, and the finale is South Gibson and Chester County.
South Gibson, led by former Summertown coach Katie
Embry. Yes. Yeah, good catch. Let's see. Semifinals are all day Friday. Championship games are Saturday.
starting at 1.
1 o'clock for 4A, 3:30 for 1A. 6 o'clock for 2A, and 8:30 for 3A. So that is your girls' Division I state tournament schedule.
Do we have any? Let's call anybody on the road is the underdog tonight. Who's the best chance for an upset in boys sectional play?
You know, I don't have all of them right in front of me, but
In our area. So I just pull up the rundown.
I just don't know that Santa Fe winning anytime is an upset, for one thing.
Well, and I mean, that's a tough place to play, but yeah,
It's a tough place to play, but as Brad Slaughter pointed out to me as we were leaving Thursday night from the Richland gym, from the Dwight Clark gym at Richland High School, we've had some success in Wayne County before.
Well, the black and gold Wildcats definitely got a chance to win.
I like their chances.
And you can follow at Wade Neely tonight for updates,
Between the Santa Fe Wildcats and the Wayne County Wildcats.
both of whom wear black and gold.
Yeah.
Just a different shade of gold.
Yeah.
One's yellow, one's more gold.
You'll be able to tell which team is which in Hickman County when Mount Pleasant goes over there. It's cats and dogs, tigers and bulldogs specifically. The blue and red tigers, the black and red bulldogs. I think this is going to be an interesting ball game.
I think, again, I think Mount Pleasant, Santa Fe both have a chance to win. I think they've got as good of a chance to reach the glass house as anybody tonight. So, yeah, I certainly feel like it would be less upset if those two teams were to win. It's going to be a tough row to hoe for Frank Hughes.
Yep.
But what if they win? What a story, right? I mean, Hoosiers-esque. I mean, I know
It might
Hoosiers
even be beyond.
Well, Hoosiers played, Milan played like Perry County won back in the day. They won the only class there was or whatever. But
Sure.
this would be very similar to what Perry County, I think, did even. I mean, 74 kids in the high school and you get to this top 8 in the state. That's incredible.
You only need 5.
Apparently.
Well, they found 5 pretty decent ones.
I guess it's the right 5. So, yeah.
So.
Yeah. This Beach Independence game should be interesting as well. Beach coming off that loss to Hillsborough in the Region 6 finals. Put them on the road.
If it's as good as last year's Green Hill Independence game, I will be very happy to be there. because that game last year was
Electric.
phenomenal.
It was electric. Mark Wilkins was even referring to that game after his region semifinal win over Franklin the other night. Just the atmosphere.
Well,
there
if
for
it's
that.
anywhere close to that, and I think it will be, it's going to be a lot of fun to be there. You can follow at Chris Yao 14 for that one.
Oh, by the way, at _.
Sports. Yes.
What are you doing?
I was scratching my knee and I brought my hand up too fast.
Tear it up. Moped _sports for updates. Hopefully, I have never.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully,
I'm not real sure about getting tweets out of Hickman County, so bear with me.
Nor am I.
Wish
Inside
me
a
luck.
Williamson County gym. I'm gonna have to go outside at the end of every quarter to send a tweet.
Don't get me started. There's a phone call that I've meant to make that I have yet to make, but I will make.
TBCA?
Yeah. Let's go to. No, let's first touch on the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee's Hall of Famers that were recently announced and will be inducted as part of their All-Star Game festivities on March 23rd over at Blackman. Former Oak Ridge assistant, former MTSU assistant, former Shelbyville and Middle Tennessee Christian girls coach Lynn Berkey will be honored with induction into the BCAT Hall of Fame, along with Shelly Sexton Collier. Shelly Sexton when she played at UT, Shelly Collier when she coached at Webb, and now at Lenoir City. The father-son tandem of Marty Cisco and Shane Cisco over at Union City. Marty at Kenton prior to Union City. The two of them have combined for 5 state championships at Union City and nearly 1,000 wins between them, I think. So, yeah. Quite the impressive resume there for the Cisco kids.
I love it.
Yeah. And
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, longtime Gallatin Greenway boys coach Bobby Luna, spent 6 years at Warren County prior to going to Sumner County. The winningest coach in Gallatin boys basketball history, and if you know Gallatin boys basketball history, that's pretty impressive.
Feat.
Yeah, Jerry Vradenberg, Dwight Waller, among others, preceded him there. But so those are your BCAT Hall of Fame 2024 inductees. Again, they will be honored March 23rd over at Blackman as part of the organization's All-Star Weekend, I guess. So stay tuned for that. Now, TBCA. The first day of high school baseball regular season competition, and we have rankings.
We do indeed. Starting Class A, where Eagleville tops the list. No surprise there, really. Very, very good baseball team. East Robertson, not really surprised to see them at the top as well in number 2. Coalfield, McKenzie, and Bradford round out the top 5. University High, Johnson City at 6. Joe Burns, man, Robertson County well represented here in the TBCA Class 1 preseason rankings, followed by South Pittsburgh at 8. Lookout Valley and Gordonsville round out the top 10.
In 2A, the Bulldogs of Milan are number 1, followed by Sweetwater. And then you got a solid little Middle Tennessee contingent of White House Heritage at 3, Forest at 4, Loretto at 5, and Watertown at 6. Alcoa, McMinn Central, Cannon County comes in at number 9, and Summertown is ranked 10th in the TBCA Class 2A preseason poll.
In Class 3A, the Green Devils of Greenville atop the list here, followed by the Bees of Upperman, then Brighton and Tennessee High, before we get to Tullahoma and Munford at 5 and 6, South Gibson at 7, Lenoir City at 8, Heritage at 9, and Anderson County at 10.
In 4A, it's Farragut, Collierville, Clarksville are your top 3.
It's going to be, man, Class 4A is so much fun to watch.
Loaded.
You were saying?
I said loaded.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Hardin Valley, Science Hill, and Houston are 4, 5, and 6. The Eagles of Independence come in at 7. Stewart's Creek at 8. Arlington 9, and Rossview, the Hawks up in Clarksville, coming in at number 10.
The baseball in Clarksville is strong, son.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Division 2, Class A, North Point Christian at 1, Good Pasture at 2, Silverdale Baptist coming in at 3, CAK at 4, Grace Franklin, number 5, Evangelical at 6, Providence Academy, Tipton Rosemark Davidson Academy, and MTCS round out your top 10.
And in Division 2 AA, it's Baylor Christian Brothers, Lipscomb Academy, Christ Presbyterian Academy, Briarcrest at 5, Macaulay, Knoxville Catholic, Brentwood Academy at 8, Memphis University School, and Father Ryan rounding out the D2 AA top 10 for the preseason as selected by the Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association. So, here you go.
Looking forward to a little baseball and softball.
I tell you
underway.
what, it looks like baseball season out there.
outside.
I mean, we don't have a view anymore, unfortunately, or fortunately. But yeah, I know when I came in today, I thought this is a great day to play ball.
Yeah, no doubt.
When we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we will be joined by Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, talking a little Southeastern Conference basketball, and looking forward to it. So stay with us here in the Lee Company studios when we come back. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA. With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We thrive under the lights. The city of performers. putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Welcome back to the Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, Wade Neely, and I don't know where they are relative to which way I'm nodding, but anyway, you can see all three of them if you're looking. We are now joined by Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 as we are talking little SEC basketball. What a weekend. Blake, thanks for joining us, man, to help us kind of sort it all out here as we get into the final week of the regular season before everybody descends on Bridgestone Arena here in Nashville for next week's tournament.
Yeah, guys, it was, like you said, a wild weekend. I think you obviously had the big game, Tennessee, Alabama, but also just kind of how important some of the other games were. South Carolina beating Florida now was very important based on what could happen this week. Even Auburn and Kentucky both winning were important because they're still technically in the conversation. So, yeah, it sets up for a wild kind of final couple games here in the regular season. So,
technically in the conversation because technically we could have a 5-way tie for the number 1 seed.
Yes, that is very possible at this point.
And imagine you tie for the SEC regular season championship, but you don't get the double bye.
Yeah.
And if there was a 5-way tie, then that is what would happen.
Somebody would have to be in the
okay.
first
So are you ready to tell us how that could happen?
No, I'm not. Not at all. I'm ready to tell you how Tennessee can win the league, and that is very simple. Tennessee wins on Wednesday, they're your champion. That's all I got for this thing.
And I imagine there are some people that would just as soon that be the way it play out, right, Blake?
Yes. Probably everyone except Alabama would enjoy that. South Carolina would not, probably too. But, yeah, so, again, the only other scenario, like we mentioned, it's technically possible Auburn and Kentucky could be in this thing. Because when you look at the remaining schedules, and that's why it's interesting, because Auburn is going to win their final 2 games, unless I just put the full jinx on them. They're at Missouri, home against Georgia. They should win both of those. Mm-hmm. Kentucky, we know, it's going to be harder for Kentucky because they play Vanderbilt, who they should beat Wednesday, but it's going to be hard for them to go in and win at Tennessee on Saturday. So, but again, chaos. That's possible.
Here's exactly what has to happen. Those 2 things, of course, have to happen. Of course, then Alabama would have to lose to Florida, but beat Arkansas. South Carolina beats Tennessee, but loses to Mississippi State, and of course, UT has to lose out.
Yeah.
Those 5, if those things happen, and look, they're not all out of the realm of possibilities. Alabama could absolutely lose on the road at Florida.
Yeah.
South Carolina could lose at Mississippi State. We've seen Mississippi State beat a lot of good teams at the hump. Including Tennessee at the hump. So I'm just saying, these are not out of the realm of possibilities. A 5-way tie is still very much alive.
If the most unlikely thing in that scenario is Kentucky winning at Tennessee, then
it can all happen.
It can all happen. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
If that's the most unlikely thing.
And I need to give a hat tip to Kevin Skarbinski
of the Birmingham News,
formerly of the Birmingham News.
Oh.
He does all kinds of things now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he hasn't been there in a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Scarbo has laid it all out for us.
Good.
Thank you, Kevin.
Glad someone did.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But as you said, Blake, Tennessee can take care of all this Wednesday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It is pretty simple for Tennessee. Obviously, they win that game. They're your regular season champion. Then we just talk about the chaos potentially behind them for those other couple seeds and who gets left out of the double bye and all that. But, yeah, I mean, look, at this point, I know that people are still talking about South Carolina. They may be one of the most talked about 24-win teams I've seen in a while in terms of, are we still buying them? Are we buying South Carolina? I'm like, at a certain point, I think we got past that. I think people jumped off the bandwagon after they had the 2-game losing streak against Auburn and LSU because it was such a wide extreme. You lose by 40, you lose by 1 at home to a team that's not in the NCAA tournament, LSU. But then what have they done since then, right? They go on the road. They win 2 games against teams that were in must-win situations. They go on the road and beat both of them, Ole Miss and Texas A&M. They come home and beat a Florida team that's played as well as anybody over the past month. And now it's like, if you're not buying South Carolina yet, I'm not saying they're going to go win the national championship, but at some point we've got to understand that this is not just a team that has lucked its way into 24 wins. They've only played 2 bad games all season. That was at Alabama, at Auburn. They could have won the other 3. And had a chance to win the other 3 that they lost. So, this is, it's going to be a tough game for Tennessee based on, of course, what we saw the last time these 2 teams played too. So,
Blake, that takes us to a conversation that that my co-host wants to have with you that I feel is totally unnecessary. And I have to frame it like that.
I don't disagree, but there are others who do disagree. And I'm curious what Blake Lovell has to say on the subject because, he's as much of an expert in Southeastern Conference basketball as I know. So, Blake, is there a debate over who is the Southeastern Conference's Coach of the Year?
No.
Thank you.
I don't even think.
Can we clip? Make sure we clip that out.
Just,
minute 35 and 40 seconds. Just that question and answer.
Well, just for the record, though,
who is it?
Who is it?
It's Lamont Paris.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
Because think about this, all right?
We have.
Whatever you're going to say, we've thought about it, but yes. Tell the others who need to hear it.
What's interesting is to really, and someone we did our reaction show Saturday night, and someone was like, I said, when's the last time a team that's picked 14th in the SEC in the preseason had a chance to win the SEC title or won the SEC title? And
when's the last time?
Yeah.
Has it ever happened?
That's what I said. I said, it's never happened. And people were trying to tell me, and they got confused, and I understand why they did, but they're like, you don't remember the year that Auburn went to whatever it was, 2017-18, where Auburn wins 26 games that year, and they're like, Auburn was picked last. I said, no, they weren't. Auburn was picked to go 4-14 by a writer that Bruce Pearl and company picked out in the preseason and called them out for saying they were going to go 4-14 in the SEC. They weren't picked to finish last. They were actually picked to finish 9th that year in the SEC. But this year, the setup now is that we have a game in the final week of the regular season. You have the preseason number 1, my preseason number 1 team. I said unanimously I wasn't going to pick anyone else to win the SEC except for Tennessee. And then my team that I picked 14th, and I said there is no one else that I would pick to finish 14th other than South Carolina. And here they are meeting on Wednesday night with the SEC title in the balance here, both teams.
Well, Blake, take some solace in the fact that you were half right.
Look, I met in the middle. All right, I said, all right, we're gonna get one of these, and then even if we get it halfway right, so yeah, I can't remember a setup like this ever, and so that speaks to what Lamont Paris has done. And again, we can look at all the advanced analytics and everything, and there's a lot of them that will tell you that South Carolina has been lucky this season. I think Ken Palm or whatever, we always love looking at these things like this. They're the second luckiest team in college basketball this year. On the flip side of that, Missouri, you want to talk about a tale of 2 seasons. Missouri, the unluckiest team in college basketball this year, and they are over in the SEC, while last year they finished in the top 10 in that category. And, of course, won 25 games, won an NCAA tournament game for the first time in a decade or more, whatever it was. So, yeah, so I think, has it helped a little bit? Sure. But at some point, it's like, hey, you guys know, it's like you play to win the game. That's the quote, right?
You know what he's saying, Mo? He's saying that sometimes you have to look at BA, BIP, and FIP and all of those analytics things in baseball that you hate to look at because sometimes they do tell a story.
They tell us something.
This is one of those times where Missouri is the weird team out. Is what it is. That's amazing.
I said this the other day, and someone looked at me and they said, you really didn't say that. I said, I did. I said, I know it's going to be strange to hear. I said, but Missouri is the best 0-16 team I've seen in the SEC ever. Like they are not that bad. Like they're not. They just, that room for error, it's gotten them every single time. So, yeah.
sometimes you just got to learn how to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blake, short of winning the title and obviously getting the double bye, which we presented that crazy scenario, who's a team that needs to have a great week this week, just for maybe even for morale purposes, heading into the SEC tournament and obviously then into March Madness?
Yeah, I mean, I guess other than the two obvious ones with A&M and Ole Miss, I mean, those are teams that are just in must-win scenario at this point. Those two teams, I think, just have to win out to feel good about their chances to get in, because they're on the outside looking in right now. So if it's not those two teams, I mean, I will say Alabama's one of those, because, look, I've been, even among my colleagues, like, I've been the high man on Alabama this season. I just kept saying, hey, they're just going to outscore teams. And to this point, I've been right in a lot of scenarios, but I think it's one of those where you're still leaving a little bit to be desired, I think, with them, because, and someone pointed this out, they're like, when they play the great defensive teams, Alabama has struggled a little bit. And, that's not a surprise, but you can go up and down their schedule and see that. Even back in non-conference play, they've just not found a way to win these games consistently. So I think if Alabama were to just go in and win what I think is going to be a tough game to win at Florida, then I think, all of a sudden this home loss to Tennessee, where you just kind of feel deflated knowing that you had a chance to win the SEC, now you're relying on everybody else to get there, it would be a significant win for Alabama. So I think I would circle them as a team to where they really need to bounce back against Florida. But the problem is, I just think that's a tough spot, because in all honesty, Florida should have beat them last time in Tuscaloosa in that game that went to overtime. So, again, the two teams that need to fight their way in, A&M and Ole Miss, but Alabama's a team I think that's in an interesting spot heading into this week.
And, while you're on the topic of Alabama, and you mentioned Ken Pom, the stat always gets floated around every year about, you got to be a top 20 offense and a top 20 defense. And we're looking at the latest Ken Pom today. Bama's 101. Certainly a far cry from the top 20. Is there something that kind of, does that speak to your point that Bama desperately needs to kind of shore a few things up, if not even the SEC regular season or SEC tournament, but if they want to make a real run in the NCAAs in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, and I think they've kind of got in a situation now where I feel like, because we are 29 games in, it's like Alabama is who they are. I don't see them fixing these issues now at this point, and I think that's just, like I said, that's the nature of tournaments. And what's going to be interesting is, as we always say, it's all about who you get. It's all about your matchup. And if Alabama gets the right matchups, they're like a lot of other teams in the SEC, whether it's Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, even Florida, I think, South Carolina potentially. If they get the right matchups, those teams are all winning multiple games in the NCAA tournament and probably, getting to the Sweet 16 and beyond. But it's just, if they get that team that is kind of like the teams that have given them problems, right? It's the teams that have given Alabama the most problems are the teams that are most like Alabama, Kentucky, Florida, teams like that. But then it's also, on the flip side, the teams that are so elite defensively, like Tennessee and Auburn. So it's kind of been that extreme one way or the other for Alabama. And, yeah, it's just trying to find the right matchup, and I just don't know if their defensive issues are going to get fixed at this point. So,
Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Here's one out of left field for you, Blake. Mississippi State finishes at A&M and at home against South Carolina. LSU finishes at Arkansas and at home against Missouri. Who's got the better chance of becoming the SEC's seventh 10-win team?
Ooh, I think that, LSU, I think it's LSU. And it's interesting to say that, because I've joked around for the past couple of weeks. I'm like, hey, LSU's the best 14 and 12 team in America. And then they lost to Mississippi State. I said, well, they're the best 14 and 13 team in America. And, now they're up to 16 and 13. And, I mean, it is kind of a joke, but when you look at it, I think this team's better than their record. And even at 16 and 13, like, we've seen the upside with LSU this year. And Arkansas, who knows? Like, you could get Arkansas coming out on Wednesday, and they could lose by 20 at home to LSU, or they could beat LSU by 20 at home. To me, they're the most inconsistent team in the SEC by far this season. Everyone knows that. And then they're going to beat Missouri, just because I've accepted it at this point that Missouri's going to go over. So I think LSU's got a better chance. I think what's even more interesting is the fact that Mississippi State could go 8-10 in the SEC for a second straight year. And I think they're going to get in the NCAA tournament going 8-10 for the second straight year. Of course, they got into the last or first four, whatever it was last year, lost to Pitt. But I think even if they go 8-10 this year, they're going to stay out of Dayton, and they're still going to be in the tournament because they've packed a lot of good wins, whether it's Tennessee, Auburn, like Washington State. That's a win that's doing work for them in the non-conference now. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of the luxury that Mississippi State has to work with here is neither of these two losses, if they lose at A&M, if they lose at home to South Carolina, which I think they're going to win one of those, but I don't think either one hurts them that much, and they probably still are feeling pretty good about themselves, maybe as a 9 seed, something like that in the tournament, even if they were to lose out. So
that triggers another question then, Blake. If LSU gets to 10 wins and they get to 18-13 on the year, do they get in?
I think at that point LSU has a path in the SEC tournament, but I still think it's one where they need – well, here's how it would probably work out for them if they're going to get there. Because I think of where they're going to finish, I find it hard to believe – well, I guess they technically could, though. They could be the team that finishes in the 7 spot in that scenario. And so if they do – then you're going to play a number 10 seed, which most likely is going to be Texas A&M or Ole Miss. So that's a borderline tournament team. You beat them in the SEC tournament, that's a decent win. Then you get the number 2 team, which again could be anybody at this point of those top 5. And so another quality win opportunity. Let's say that happens, and they're sitting at what? That'd be 20 wins at that point. They'd pick up 2 more quality wins. Do you have a situation where, if you're LSU, you get to the semifinals and you got a shot? I think so, because you better be doing something else as well, and that is you want to be rooting for Wake Forest to somehow find their way into this thing because they beat Wake Forest earlier. Or excuse me, they lost. Or they beat Wake Forest. That was the overtime game earlier in November. So you would love to see Wake Forest get in because that way, again, that's a win that can do a little work for you. But it's probably an uphill climb for LSU either way, but there's a path there.
Man, that's wild. We're getting down to that point where you're having to look at your wins and look at
their wins.
And yeah, it's that fun time of year where you really have to go deep. And Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, we appreciate you helping us do that. You can find him at Twitter or at X at the Blake Lovell, and sure he's going to have some interesting stuff over the course of the week and over the course of the next 10 days, I guess, leading into the tournament here at Bridgestone that starts up Tuesday night?
Was it Wednesday? It's the first.
Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday is the first. Yeah,
okay.
the bottom 4 teams on Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. Like you said, I'm looking forward to it, and look forward to seeing you guys around next week. So.
Sounds like a winner. Blake, we appreciate it. We will catch up with you. And when we come back here on Main Street Sports today, we are going to tie up some loose ends with the grab bags. So stay with us here in the Lee Company studio. We'll be right back. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No. No.
Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's just
you got that right, and
that's bottom
there'll
line.
be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball, there's a football, there's a baseball. Maybe if not a puck, how about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
It's the last segment of the Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. And it's the grab bag. We got some stuff that we need to get to, but we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on it. So me, Chris, and Wade are gonna talk about it. And
let's go.
Apparently, and this caused a lot of consternation over the weekend initially. Atlanta Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. will have his sore right knee examined Monday in Los Angeles by Dr. Neil Elatrache, the doctor who did reconstructive surgery on the torn ACL in that knee in July 2021, a team official said.
And for those who need some help, he is the Dr. James Andrews of knees.
Of the West Coast, yeah.
Of knees.
Yeah. An MRI on Friday revealed irritation around the meniscus in Acuna's knee. He was scratched from Friday's game against the Phillies due to some soreness. The MRI revealed the irritation, and so I guess he was going to have that looked at today. And
just make sure there's no tear.
I guess we wait.
Yeah, it is what it is. This particular situation is typically at worst 6 weeks. So, I mean, I'm not gonna stress too much over it. Hopefully, it is just irritation and not a tear. But if it is a tear, then we'll just have to wait 6 weeks.
I will tell you that I would rather be having this discussion on March 4th than on
September
May 4th or July 4th or any other time.
Yeah.
Let's deal with it. Let's get it out of the way. Season opens March 28th in Philadelphia. I just assume he not play in Philadelphia on March 28th. I don't know why we're playing in Philadelphia on March 28th. There are other warmer places that the Atlanta Braves could be playing a regular season game than Philadelphia, but don't get me started on that. But
Oakland, right?
Quite literally anywhere south of Philadelphia.
Oakland, Wade said. I guess Oakland is still an option this year.
For now.
Yeah, probably not next year. Speaking of the Braves, the bringer of rain has hung up his umbrella.
Nashville Sounds legend, Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, there we go. You came across that scrolling through Twitter as you are wont to do.
I saw it on ESPN that the former American League MVP has decided that
Nashville Sounds legend.
And Nashville Sounds legend, Josh. I mean, the Sounds Twitter account actually tweeted it. Like, they posted a picture of him wearing his Hit City jersey and said, "Enjoy retirement."
Hey, good for them.
Fantastic. Way to go.
Good for them.
You got to love that. So, again, former American League MVP Josh Donaldson taking it to the house.
According to
no doubt.
279 hits, 279 home runs, 1,310 hits, and a long-earned reputation as someone who competed with an edge, unafraid of offending opponents, according to former Nashville Banner writer Buster Olney, now with ESPN. Had his best season in 2015 with Toronto when he hit 41 homers, drove in a league high 123 runs, while scoring an MLB high 122 runs. Received 23 of 30 first place votes for MVP ahead of Mike Trout. Finished in the top 10 for his league's MVP 4 times.
Well, and was almost a fifth time when he was with Atlanta when he finished 11th in voting with 37 homers, 94 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and drew 100 walks while hitting 259 for the Braves. That year in 2019, Josh Donaldson was a legit, like, we were seriously thinking, what are we going to do with Austin Riley?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we really didn't know and begged him to come back. Almost, and he ended up, obviously the Braves went with Austin Riley, and it's worked out.
Yeah, and the rest, as they say, is history. But still,
man, he was a force with Atlanta that year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
got to Toronto in a trade with Oakland. Stop me if you've heard that before.
Yeah. No doubt.
It was among the first trades that began to cement the reputation of then Blue Jays GM Alex Anthopoulos as a savvy deal maker.
There you go.
So, again, the bringer of rain, hanging up his umbrella. What else? What else?
SEC women's basketball?
SEC women's basketball tournament bracket is set.
It is.
I don't have it in front of me.
Well, I do. Would you like for me to go through it? We'll start with.
Feel free.
We'll start with Wednesday. Georgia and Kentucky will play in game 1 at the 12 and 13 seeds, while Missouri and Florida will follow. On Thursday.
Now, this is in Greenville, South Carolina.
This is in Greenville,
right?
South
At
Carolina.
The Bon Secours Arena.
Bon Secours?
Secours?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Do you know?
But it's in Greenville.
Couldn't tell you on that one, partner.
Secours? I don't know.
Anyway, it's in Greenville.
Game 3 will be number 8 seed Mississippi State, Texas A&M, number 9 seed on Thursday at noon, followed by the winner of Georgia, Kentucky against the Lady Vols. Game 5 later that evening is Auburn and Arkansas, the 7 and 10, and then that winner of Florida, Missouri taking on 6-seeded Vanderbilt. Number 1 seed South Carolina, number 2 seed LSU, number 3 seed Ole Miss, and number 4 seed Alabama await winners of those games. Tennessee with a win would play
South Carolina,
Carly, Weathers, and Alabama.
Oh, okay. My fault.
So
Tennessee is the 5 seed. Alabama's a 4.
The 8-9 would play the winner of the Texas A&M Mississippi State gets South Carolina. So lovely parting gifts for the Maroon teams in the conference. Arkansas, Auburn get LSU, which unfortunate for them, and then Vanderbilt with a win would play Ole Miss. And then the championship game is on Sunday at 3 p.m. on ESPN. Both semifinals games on ESPNU, by the way. That's a weird place for them to be.
That is a weird place for them to be.
But whatever.
Okay. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday games are all on the SEC network.
Correct.
Okay.
Just turn on SEC network and you'll see women's basketball.
And just leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No need to change the channel.
There's really not. And, some intriguing matchups there.
No doubt.
Last but not least.
Do we have time to get into this? Do you want us to go with the Predators?
Yeah, let's just go with the Predators because we probably don't have time for Wade to.
As he's wearing his Michigan gear.
Yeah, give us all of his insight into what's going on in Ann Arbor. But
That's an old shirt too, by the way, with that Adidas on it.
Throwback.
They've not been Adidas since I guess Tennessee left Adidas. So.
Got this year. I got to see him in the national title game versus Louisville down in Atlanta, and little did I know, other than a run versus Villanova a few years later, but that would probably be about the extent of my Michigan basketball highlight fandom, at least for several years.
Predators.
8.
8 straight.
Wagon.
And I mean, guys, we were literally writing this team off when we talked to Ann Kimmel the first time.
Writing off had written off.
Yeah. I mean, and now things are getting very interesting in the wild card situation.
Well, and they got the Blackhawks coming to town tomorrow night.
That's a couple dubs.
You would think. Blackhawks in Buffalo on Tuesday and Thursday. So, yeah.
7 points ahead of the next closest team in the wild card race.
They got a chance to push this streak out to 10 games.
Absolutely do.
So, keep an eye on the Preds. We will. Keep an eye on us. Tomorrow at 2, it'll be me and Wade from Parts Unknown. Wade, you going to be here?
TBD. That's part of the Parts Unknown.
Oh, okay. TBD for Wade. So check back in with us tomorrow here at 2. We will be in the Lee Company studio somewhere for Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We will see you all 2 o'clock tomorrow.